On Monday, Donald Trump testified under oath in his civil fraud trial, though technically he was never sworn in because the Bibles kept bursting into flames.
But if there's any silver lining to voter suppression, it's that we'll never have to hear Republicans try to appeal to black voters, because no one wants to hear Ted Cruz say for shizzle. Frankly, no one wants to hear me say it either, but it's too late. It's already a gift. The only way this could have gone worse for Trump is if they took away his businesses, which is, of course, what happens in next week's trial. Wildlife officials in Tennessee have captured a 500-pound black bear living on a college campus. A black bear that, let's face it, took the spot of more deserving white and Asian bears.
Potential new candidates for Speaker include Tom Emmer, Kevin Hern, Jack Bergman, and 6 more candidates who are clearly George Santos. Yesterday, the devil went down to Georgia. No, I'm kidding. Donald Trump traveled to Georgia to survey the damage from Hurricane Helene, which is bold because nothing scares Trump more than high winds.
Alaska Airlines has announced plans to buy Hawaiian Airlines for nearly $2 billion. Alaska and Hawaiian combined will be called Technically American Airlines. Russia has passed a fake news law that makes it illegal for any organization to report information that contradicts what the government says, which explains the recent headline, 6'5" Putin not insane. President Biden. According to a new study, just 1 drink a day may shrink overall volume of your brain. Though I think I speak for all alcohol enthusiasts when I say, buh? There are also unconfirmed reports that Vladimir Putin will undergo cancer surgery. Wow, I never thought I'd say this, but hey, good luck, cancer.
A new report shows that South Korea now has the world's lowest birth rate, despite the efforts of South Korean entertainer Nick Can-un. Golfer Bubba Watson has released a Christmas rap featuring his character Bubba Claus. You can find it on the new compilation. Now that's what Jost calls music. I like that. I like that one. A Pizza Hut in Canada has gone viral after employees posted a sign on the door explaining that the location was closed due to unforeseen circumcisions. It was obviously a misprint because Pizza Hut loves extra toppings.
Yesterday it was announced that Mike Pence will lead Trump's transition team, which is weird because normally when people transition, Pence sends them to conversion therapy.
Insiders said that during his hush money trial, Donald Trump complained that none of his supporters were in court with him. But that's not true. What about all those cops? That's 0 for 2?
Bernie Sanders announced his plan to legalize marijuana on Thursday at 4:20 because he likes his voters like he likes his taxes, high as hell.
That's a sweet one.
Yeah, that's sweet. This week, Mark Zuckerberg demonstrated Meta's new augmented reality smart glasses. Explains Zuckerberg, banana. It was announced that a musical version of Lord of the Rings will open in Chicago. So if you love musicals and you love Lord of the Rings, high school must have been a tough time. Trust me, I know. Earlier tonight, Donald Trump held a rally at the site of his first assassination attempt, which I have to admit is very brave of him. Though it was interesting that right before Trump spoke, he sent J.D. Vance out in a long red tie and a blonde wig.
Speak for yourself. If convicted, Hunter Biden could be sentenced to up to 17 years in prison, which would be the first time any Biden has successfully completed a Speaker Mike Johnson said that he is blurring the faces on the footage of January 6 rioters so that none of them would be charged with a crime. So unfortunately, we'll never know who they are.
Senator Lindsey Graham, seen here picturing the orgy Madison Cawthorn said that Ketanji Brown Jackson is a person of exceptionally good character, but he would not support her for the Supreme Court. So like many Southern gentlemen, he's comfortable with black folks until they try to move in next door.
The Indiana Fever have the first pick in this Monday's draft. A reminder that Indiana Fever is a WNBA team and not what Michael Che gave to dozens of women at Purdue University.
I mean, we're sharing a bed together, and conservatives are all sprawled out in the middle while liberals are on the edge, passive-aggressively tweeting. If we want this relationship to work, we gotta cuddle, man. We gotta talk, get familiar. You can't just wait until you're in desperate need of attention and then poke her in the back with your penis and ask, "You sleep?"
Scientists have determined that the cause of the mysterious deaths of dozens of African elephants was a bacterial infection, and not Margaret, the one elephant who stood to inherit everything. Well, guys, tomorrow is Mother's Day, whether you wanted to be one or not. In an unprecedented move that could cause lasting damage to the Supreme Court, a draft opinion was leaked, which indicates that they intend to overturn Roe v. Wade. So the court is usually careful, but they slipped up just this once, and now they've got to live with it forever. Wow. Sounds really unfair. The opinion was written by Justice... Some of my best work. Arizona Congressman Paul Gosar, seen here watching an interracial couple walk by, has officially been censured after posting a violent anime video that depicted him killing Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But I don't know, he's a 60-year-old man who makes his own anime. When he heard he was getting punished, he was probably like, "Is it nipple clamps?" I just hope an octopus doesn't do anything to me. Senator Lindsey Graham, who gives this exact same look at the urinal, created a controversy on Twitter by suggesting that Russians should end the war in Ukraine by assassinating Vladimir Putin. It is a shocking, disgusting example of Lindsey Graham being kind of right about something. The TSA reports that in the first 3 months of this year, they've intercepted 1,500 guns in carry-on bags, and the majority of them were loaded. Because you're giving me that window seat.
Scientists have trained a goldfish to drive a car. They believe it's the first step to eventually training women. Officials are warning hikers to stay away from a volcano in New Zealand, saying there are signs it may erupt. Signs like when locals heard the volcano whisper, "Oh, I'm so close."
The makers of Pokemon Go are now developing a similar game based on the world of Harry Potter. The game will be called Harry Potter and the Kids Who Wandered into Oncoming Traffic.
Police in Ohio say that a report of a homeless man sleeping on a bench turned out to be a statue, which was a huge relief because they shot it 15 times.
This week, there was a full moon known as the Beaver Moon, which can be seen about a month after a waxing moon.
That's a good joke. That's a good joke.
During the Golden Globes this Sunday, a new commercial will air that will be the first to ever show lactating breasts on television. Unfortunately, those breasts belong to the green M&M.
Jay-Z has launched a line of cannabis products called Monogram. So just a quick reminder to all the women that told me I need to grow up. Beyonce is married to a 50-year-old weed guy. So God ain't done with me yet.
Tuesday was National Puppy Day, unfortunately at Subway.
New York City Steakhouse Peter Luger has partnered with Madame Tussauds to filling its dining room with wax figures of celebrities during the pandemic. So now you can enjoy a steak with Jimmy Fallon, or have a dessert with Audrey Hepburn, or have a drink with, oh no, Bill Cosby. At the conference, President Biden was asked if he plans to run for re-election in 2024, which is probably the nicest way to ask him if he plans to be alive in 3 years.
Insiders are saying that producers for the Broadway hit Hamilton are planning to reopen the show on July 4th, hopefully with some goddamn white actors this time.
Fisher-Price has launched an online museum showcasing its toys over the past 90 years. Or you can see them in person at America's most famous toy museum, the Neverland Ranch.
Kelsey Grammer announced that he will star in a revival of Frasier. For those of you too young to remember, Frasier was the show that made Friends look black.
During a congressional hearing, Mark Zuckerberg confirmed that he was creating an Instagram for kids. Wow, an app filled with pictures of just kids? I mean, what could go wrong?
Officials at the Barcelona Zoo revealed that 4 lions at the facility tested positive for coronavirus. Even more shocking, it's because they attended a Hasidic wedding.
Drake has released a line of scented candles that smell like him. And unfortunately, so has DJ Khaled.
According to new research, men with deeper voices are more likely to cheat on their partners. But you can't believe scientists, baby.
Is that voice blackface? An American Airlines pilot reported that during a flight over New Mexico, he saw a long cylinder object come close to his plane. Sorry, that was just our engine, said United.
Sesame Street has introduced 2 new black Muppets to help explain racial difference to children, which begs the question, are these Muppets white?
Residents in Rome are upset after a wild boar and her 6 piglets were killed on a playground near the Vatican. But it's like they say, nothing good ever happens on a playground near the Vatican. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. A new study by astronomers finds that the galaxy is not as black as previously thought after it was seen dating a white lady.
Disney Plus has placed a disclaimer in front of old episodes of The Muppet Show warning viewers that it features offensive content. I just want to ask, who's about to watch The Muppets, sees a warning about graphic content, and doesn't watch it? If anything, you'd be like, I gotta see this episode of The Muppets. Does Gonzo finally have sex with a chicken?
Doctors in China removed more than 120 magnetic beads swallowed by a 5-year-old boy. Wow. Wait till his boss at the factory hears about this.
A woman, oh, it's getting worse. A woman flying to Detroit said she woke up to a pastor urinating on her, which explains why her dream was about her being baptized. Researchers have discovered a piece of 20-million-year-old petrified wood on the Greek island of Lesbos. They knew it was from Lesbos because it's double-ended.
Oh, man. A school in Virginia is returning a wallet to a woman 70 years after she lost it in the school gym. Well, how do you like that? Said a black man still in jail for stealing it. It was announced that Harrison Ford will return for a 5th Indiana Jones movie. Unfortunately, it's called Indiana Jones and the Tomb of the Jamaican Nurse. I'm sorry.
Come a little closer. Don't make me go too far. Don't stop until it's over. I'll show you all of my scars.
Firefighters in Florida rescued a horse that fell into a septic tank and was nearly submerged in raw sewage. A horse submerged in raw sewage is also known as an Arby's beef and cheddar.
Arby's, we eat the horse.
Virginia has become the first state in the South to abolish the death penalty. So if you'll excuse me, I've got some white women to whistle at.
A restaurant in San Francisco is selling a fried chicken sandwich that includes the chicken's claw. Not to be outdone, KFC just announced their new beaks-only bucket. The chief, well, you're not going to like this. The chief of the Cherokee Nation is calling on car maker Jeep to stop using the tribe's name on its vehicles. So Jeep has agreed to change the name to, wow, the Aunt Jemima Mobile. Doctors say that a woman has given birth to a baby that came from an embryo frozen 27 years ago. Said the baby, "You picked this year?"
Oh, boy. A 102-year-old woman from New York who survived the 1918 Spanish flu has now beat coronavirus twice. But sadly, she was no match for my car.
Pepsi announced a new Peeps flavored soda for Easter. It's perfect for Easter because it will make your digestive system say, Jesus Christ.
A sailor who fell overboard survived for 14 hours in the Pacific Ocean by floating on a large piece of garbage. Sorry, that was our other engine, said United. Almost 100 art industry figures have criticized 4 different museum plans to postpone exhibits featuring an artist's paintings of the KKK. But if you want to see portraits of Klansmen, you can always search Jost on Ancestry.com. Okay, well, whatever.
Mattel is releasing a Helen Keller Barbie doll. Just remember not to let her drive the Barbie Corvette.
Yankees legend Whitey Ford died this week at the age of 91. Ford reminds us of a simpler time when you could just name your kid Whitey.
It is dark. A professional golfer in Florida was arrested after he tried to meet a 15-year-old girl he met online who turned out to be a detective. Said the golfer, "Mulligan?"
Come on, man.
Sadly, there's more. For those of you wondering, in golf terms, a 15-year-old is 3 under par. This is fun. A Canadian woman was fined more than $25,000 for illegally importing bull semen. Meanwhile, in the U.S., bull semen is sold legally under the name White Claw. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. This week in court, Stormy Daniels gave a detailed description of sex with Donald Trump, which was so disgusting even the sky turned green. Stormy Daniels, seen here as drawn by the creator of Kathy.
Nearly 100,000 pounds of sliced prosciutto is being recalled for not being inspected properly, which is weird because I thought prosciutto inspector was just an Italian slur for gay. Prosciutto inspector?
At a campaign rally, former President Trump said he would debate President Biden anytime, any place. And then he pointed to an empty podium on the stage. And now Trump and Biden are both polling 80 points behind the podium.
This week, Donald Trump said that he supports abortion laws being decided by the states instead of the federal government. But why stop there? Why not go even smaller and leave it up to the counties or the city? Or even better, take the government out of it completely and leave it the choice about what women can do with their bodies to the person who knows what they can do with them the best, their husbands.
In a new interview, Donald Trump also claimed that President Biden was high on cocaine during the State of the Union, saying he was all jacked up at the beginning. By the end, he was fading fast. It almost sounds like Donald Trump knows exactly what it feels like to be on cocaine.
Yesterday, Mike Johnson, whose position as House Speaker is in jeopardy, traveled to Mar-a-Lago for a meeting with Donald Trump. And boy, is his jaw tired. All right.
That eventually got applause?
Stormy Daniels testified that during their encounter, Donald Trump did not wear a condom. He tried to put one on, but he was blocked by his tie. Stormy Daniels testified in Donald Trump's hush money trial and was asked to list some of the movies that she's worked on. After she finished, the judge banged the gavel and open oral arguments were the names of the movies.
Oh, man, that was a good joke. Conservative judges and pundits have defended Thomas by saying that his deals with Harlan Crow are not corrupt because Crow had no business before the court. But come on, does this conservative Christian billionaire strike you as someone who didn't want them to overturn Roe v. Wade? He looks like he's on a pamphlet called Why You Have to Keep It.
Tennessee Republicans expelled 2 black lawmakers for protesting gun violence, but did not expel a white lawmaker who protested with them. Republicans said they know what it looks like, but they were actually expelled because their skin is black.
In a video on Truth Social, Donald Trump falsely said that Democrats support abortion up to the 9th month and beyond, saying the baby is executed after birth. But he only thinks that happens because when Trump was a baby, a bunch of time travelers showed up trying to kill him. You know, like at the beginning, you've got a lot of energy. But then, by the end, you're fading fast.
Just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
A growing number of black men feel like the Trump and Biden campaigns are not actually trying to forge true relationships and just want their votes. Yeah. During a new interview with ABC News, Steve Bannon called himself the voice of MAGA and also the face of gout. Insiders said that during his hush money trial, Donald Trump complained that none of his supporters were in court with him. But that's not true. What about all those cops? Breaks my heart, Colin. Breaks my heart.
Before her testimony, Stormy Daniels agreed not to describe Trump's genitalia in court after she was offered hush money by the jury. But then Florida Senator Rick Scott appeared in court to support Trump, so in a way, we did get to see what Trump's penis would look like.
A new poll shows that supporters of President Biden and Donald Trump are sharply divided over where they get their news from. People who support Biden are more likely to get their news from newspapers and mainstream media, while Trump supporters get their news from T-shirts.
Representative Matt Gaetz referenced the Proud Boys by tweeting a picture of himself outside Trump's courtroom with the caption, "Standing back and standing by." Gaetz used that same caption in a picture of himself outside a quinceañera.
Israeli officials are reportedly furious after the U.S. withheld a shipment of weapons. But yes, sometimes people get angry at their intervention. All right, that was... President Biden on Tuesday issued a call to fight hate against anti-Semitism, saying there is no place for it in America. But on the other hand, Colin's Country Club.
Former President Donald Trump, seen here definitely not sleeping. He's probably just praying. Former President Trump, for the first time in his trial, wrote a message on a yellow Post-it note and handed it to his lawyer while he was making an argument. The Post-it read simply, "Can't pay you."
More than 5,000 people attended a Democratic fundraiser at Radio City Music Hall featuring big-name celebrities like Barack Obama, Stephen Colbert, and Lizzo, as well as lesser-known celebrities like President Joe Biden.
There was actually an error in the LA Times obituary for O.J. Simpson. In the section about his prison time, instead of writing O.J. walked out of the Lovelock Correctional Center, they wrote Trump walked out of the Lovelock Correctional Center, a free man for the first time in 9 years. And it's not a great sign for Trump that even autocorrect thinks he belongs in jail.
President Biden said Friday that he would visit the site of the Baltimore bridge collapse because, like that bridge, Biden is no longer connecting with black communities. That was my best joke, Colin.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said next week she will force a vote to oust House Speaker Mike Johnson. And if there's one thing I bet she's amazing at, it's driving men away.
O.J. Simpson died this week at the age of 76 after a battle with prostate cancer that was planted on him by the LAPD. NBC News cut ties with Ronna McDaniel after many network hosts protested her hiring. And I'm actually very disappointed, only because I thought Ronna McDaniel was a drag version of Ronald McDonald.
Donald Trump also told supporters that if he's elected, he will focus on anti-white racism. Thank God. My people have suffered long enough. Sorry, Che, but time's up.
Grand fluidity.
It's a great hearing. A new study finds that the average child throws a tantrum 4 times a week, weeknights on Fox. In the wake of the classified document scandal, representatives for Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama issued statements saying they all turned over all classified records before leaving office, while Jimmy Carter issued a statement saying, "Come and get 'em, you bastards." A new app called Greet Her is designed to help women travel alone safely by providing people to greet them when they arrive at airports or hotels. And it's being used for murder. Tomorrow is the New York City Marathon, or as Fox News will report it, undocumented Africans run wild in streets of New York.
Herschel Walker responded to Barack Obama criticizing his qualifications to be in the Senate by saying, "Put my resume against his resume." Fine. So here's Obama's resume, and here's Herschel Walker's. A Virginia man who pranks people for YouTube videos was shot while tricking someone in a mall. Good. A 106-year-old woman in the Philippines has become the oldest Vogue cover model ever, beating the previous record of 29. A lawyer for Mike Pence says that after they discovered classified documents in his home, Pence stands ready and willing to fully cooperate. Incidentally, I stand ready and willing to fully cooperate is also what Pence says before sex. During the Senate hearings investigating Live Nation and their monopoly on concert ticket sales, fans of Taylor Swift protested outside the Capitol. Oh, that's sweet. And only 2 years after their dads were there.
A Jeopardy contestant this week was forced to quit social media after people said his mustache looks like Hitler's. The contestant said he's so mad that he's had it up to here. Senator Rick Scott, seen here learning that Harry Potter has fallen into his trap, announced that he is running for re-election, promising to finish the border wall and name it after Donald Trump, even though most things named after Donald Trump are complete failures.
NASA has named the 4 astronauts it will send on the Artemis 2 mission to the moon. And if things go wrong, I think I know who's dying first. Oh, he can do the Hitler salute now?
And don't gif it. A 23-year-old Chihuahua in Ohio named Spike has been officially named the world's oldest living dog. The secret to Spike's long life? A lot of Chihuahuas look the same. Chipotle has announced plans to hire 15,000 people to prepare for its busiest time of year, which they are calling burrito season. And Toilets discovered what is believed to be the world's oldest message in a bottle, which was thrown into the sea over 130 years ago by a then middle-aged Bernie Sanders. How is no one keeping track of how many guns people own? There is a real law in Texas that says it's illegal to own more than 6 dildos. And I get why. No one needs that many. If you have more than 6 dildos, it's a clear sign you are training for something awful. Apple has announced that it will add hundreds of new emojis to its iOS system, including a person at a spa, a vomiting face, and a shushing finger. Finally giving emoji fans the ability to describe what it was like to work for Harvey Weinstein.
Get a crunch and you got a chalupa. Big deal. What are you so afraid that Joe Biden's going to do? What, free the slaves again? Hey, Kyle, did you know my tie is a clip-on? I've been wanting to say that all year.
The aftermath. Well, a new report ranks the New York City subway system as the best in the country. This was according to Masturbating Hobo Monthly.
Just love guns so much. It's not true. 78% of Americans don't even own a gun. And 3% of Americans own 50% of all the guns in the country. That's the problem, that whiny 3% that needs to feel secure all the time. That's why I think we should do a buyback program. For every gun you trade in, we give you 1/2 inch of penis enlargement.
Is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. And a black Superman actually makes a lot of sense when you remember that Superman was abandoned by his parents as a baby.
Their long-running instant messenger service will shut down for good in December. AOL's announcement said simply, goodbye.
This week marks 2 years since the beginning of the first COVID lockdown. And let's just say some people have handled the stress better than others.
This week marks the start of, okay, but what about a White History Month? Yeah, so we're making each other read jokes live on air that the other person has never seen before.
Oh, God. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, for the first time, denied months-old rumors that he had died and been replaced by a look-alike from Sudan. See, even Africans can't tell black people apart.
Reported that last year the population of China declined by 850,000 people, thanks to an increase in China's leading cause of death, protesting. China plans to reverse the population decline with an emergency import of Nick Cannon.
A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why? Tennis star Andy Murray was upset after an umpire at the Australian Open refused to let him take a bathroom break during a 5-set long match. Worse, it was deuce. The U.S. Department of the Interior has changed the name of Squaw Valley, California, because it is considered a derogatory term for Native American women. Okay, I don't understand how that name gets changed, and yet no one cares there's an entire town in New York that mocks my people.
A new study finds that frogs in the rainforest have a higher pitch call than urban frogs. The study also finds that female frogs be shopping. I stand by that joke.
Due to a computer error, a school in Massachusetts has been unable to turn off its lights for over a year and a half. The students are doing fine, but the classroom hamster has gone insane.
A San Francisco panel studying reparations is proposing giving every black resident a one-time payment of $5 million. Well, that's a fantastic idea, said the Gucci store.
The location of Sex Island, which is a 4-day drug-fueled event featuring prostitutes and an exclusive resort, has been revealed to be an island off the coast of Trinidad and Tobago. This according to the plane ticket I saw in Shay's hand.
See you there. The CDC is warning people to not eat raw cookie dough because it may contain germs that can cause severe diarrhea. But on the bright side, you can eat cookie dough without ever gaining weight. In and out.
It was reported that the Boy Scouts of America are considering filing for bankruptcy in the face of declining membership. Yeah, apparently there's some problem with their business model of hoping parents will pay adult strangers to take their children deep into the woods. It was announced that the Broadway musical Avenue Q about raunchy puppets will close in the spring after 15 years. But if you still want to go see raunchy puppets, just head to Times Square and watch Elmo kicking pigeon.
The inflation rate in the U.S. reached 8.5% in March. To cover the higher prices, millions of families have been forced to take out a second OnlyFans account.
Google Earth has released a new feature that allows people to see a time lapse of how their neighborhood has changed over the last 40 years. Don't remind me, said my grandpa.
Video was posted of a police officer in San Francisco pulling over a driverless car, then the car driving away after the officer saw no one was behind the wheel. Even more amazing, he still managed to shoot an unarmed black guy.
Firefighters in Texas saved more than 100 snakes, including pythons and boa constrictors from a burning home, said the homeowner. Cool, so where's my wife? The World Health Organization is changing the name of monkeypox to mpox due to concerns that the original could be considered racist, which I didn't even really think was an issue, but...
Merriam-Webster announced that its word of the year is gaslighting. Gaslighting, if you don't know, is a word my ex made up to magically win arguments that she was losing. The Senate passed the Respect for Marriage Act, which solidifies federal protections for interracial marriages. Okay, but if I marry a white lady, who's going to protect me from my mother? Tensions are on the rise after North Korea launched more than 20 missiles into the ocean, and all because the Little Mermaid is black. It's not real.
Tomorrow is the New York City Marathon, or as Fox News will report it, undocumented Africans run wild in streets of New York. The bat used by Babe Ruth to hit his 500th home run was auctioned off this week. Also, I'll be auctioning off the bat I used to keep my neighborhood white.
Las Vegas is opening a pop-up vaccine site in a strip club. And don't worry, the strippers say the vaccine is a lot like Michael Che. Very quick, and you can barely feel it go in.
A student in Texas, who is nicknamed White Lightning, set a high school record by running the 100-meter dash in 9.98 seconds. Coincidentally, people call me White Lightning because I also finish in under 10 seconds.
The CDC is warning people to not eat raw cookie dough because it may contain germs that can cause severe diarrhea. But on the bright side, you can eat cookie dough without ever gaining weight. In and out.
An obese monkey in Thailand named Godzilla has been sent to a special facility to lose weight. Officials realized the monkey was overweight when a bunch of black guys kept hitting on it.
A new study shows that the average American touches their mobile device more than 2,000 times a day. Only 2,000 times, said my penis.
Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. And a black Superman actually makes a lot of sense when you remember that Superman was abandoned by his parents as a baby.
A new report shows that Hurricane Florence was the wettest in history. The previous record for wetness was set on the opening night of Magic Mike.
Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. In this version, black Superman's kryptonite is an honest day's work.
Doctors in Iowa have confirmed a dog disease that can be passed on to humans. Fine, I'll wear a condom. Oh, wow. Okay.
The this week, construction began on a new hip-hop museum in the Bronx. And I know that we've had a lot of fun with me reading racist jokes that Michael writes for me, but because our country is already divided enough, I'd like to use my platform to say something that everyone of all races can agree on. Woody Allen is innocent.
Pope Francis ended a Vatican summit by promising the Catholic Church would confront the clergy sex abuse head on instead of their usual way, face down, ass up.
The location of Sex Island, which is a 4-day drug-fueled event featuring prostitutes and an exclusive resort, has been revealed to be an island off the coast of Trinidad and Tobago. This, according to the plane ticket I saw in Shay's hand. It was announced that Creed singer Scott Stapp will play Frank Sinatra in an upcoming movie. But the good news is Sammy Davis Jr. will be played by Scarlett Johansson.
A new interview with England's Prince Andrew is being called a total disaster after he said his friend Jeffrey Epstein conducted himself in a manner unbecoming. I don't know, from what I've read, it sounded like he becoming all the time.
A church in Massachusetts has created a nativity scene that comments on the immigration debate by placing the baby Jesus in a cage, where he belongs. A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip-hop. Why?
Ooh, we finish our night up in the best way, loving all over, and then we both wake up sober the next day, and have to start over. So now we silent the whole ride back, cause what we have doesn't feel the same as what we had, and I'm tired of feeling.
Researchers are testing a new method to treat cancer by injecting the cells with the herpes virus. So good news, if you've ever had sex with me, you might have the cure for cancer.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, for the first time, denied months-old rumors that he had died and been replaced by a look-alike from Sudan. See, even Africans can't tell black people apart.
It was revealed that the sequel to the movie Hocus Pocus is in the works for Disney Plus, which judging by this picture is a movie about every white woman I've ever slept with. Cool.
A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why?
The Palm Beach mansion, once owned by Jeffrey Epstein, will soon be demolished. And I'm honestly shocked that they would demolish a place where I have so many fond memories. Rest in power, King. I'll take it from you.
Recent polls show that Pete Buttigieg has only 4% support among African Americans. But that'll change once Pete announces his running mate, the Popeyes chicken sandwich. Last week was National Rosa Parks Day, or as we call it in my house, Uppity Bus Passenger Day.
Pope Francis ended a Vatican summit by promising the Catholic Church would confront the clergy sex abuse head on instead of their usual way, face down, ass up.
A student in Texas, who is nicknamed White Lightning, set a high school record by running the 100-meter dash in 9.98 seconds. Coincidentally, people call me White Lightning because I also finish in under 10 seconds.
It was reported that more than 400 million pieces of plastic has washed up on a remote island in the Indian Ocean. And for reference, here's what 400 million pieces of plastic looks like.
A man in Iran went to the hospital after he got a AA battery stuck inside his penis. It was AA because that's the sound he makes when it goes in.
Experts say that by 2026, Disney Plus will surpass Netflix to become the top streaming platform in the world. Not so fast, said Pornhub. I am very impressed by all the Ukrainian citizens signing up to defend their country, even the famous ones. Imagine that here. If you ever read on the news, Michael Che has joined an American war, we have just lost that war.
A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why?
The nomination fulfills Biden's promise to change the subject. You clapped too early.
Biden chose Jackson after interviewing 3 finalists this week. Weird, I thought interviewing black candidates was just for show, said the NFL.
A woman in Arizona gave birth to a 14-pound baby boy. So now Arizona has 2 Grand Canyons. Some math jokes. But I have a close friend who's Russian, and I asked her what she thought about it, and she said, Michael, you know paid me to talk, baby. Study finds that 11% of American adults are afraid of the dark, especially if that dark is behind them at the ATM. In the days after New York Mayor Eric Adams announced a new plan to stop violence in the city's transit system, 6 people were stabbed on the subway. And I think I speak for all New Yorkers when I say, that sounds pretty low.
Okay, I'm already so worried. Okay, it says, okay, time out. I refuse to read this last joke, not because it's racist, but because there's a black man holding my cue card. It says I can't work like this, so Merry Christmas, homeboy, you're fired. Researchers have observed a nearly 60-foot-tall rogue wave off the coast of British Columbia, which is the largest ever recorded. Researchers believe the wave was generated when Yo Mama fell overboard.
Researchers are testing a new method to treat cancer by injecting the cells with the herpes virus. So good news, if you've ever had sex with me, you might have the cure for cancer.
Well, we're now at the point where at every press conference, the president's asked, will there be a nuclear war? A journalist asked President Biden if we should be worried about nuclear war, and he said no. Because what's he going to say? Hell yeah, man. Start digging a bunker, Jack. Recent polls show that Pete Buttigieg has only 4% support among African Americans. But that'll change once Pete announces his running mate, the Popeyes chicken sandwich. Wow. Capturing Chernobyl is like landing an audition for Harvey Weinstein now.
Doctors in Iowa have confirmed a dog disease that can be passed on to humans. Fine, I'll wear a condom. Oh, wow. Okay.
Many analysts were surprised Putin went through with the invasion, even though it was obviously going to be a colossal mistake. But he couldn't back down after all that buildup. Kind of like how NBC still had to go through with airing the Winter Olympics. Fans of the hit HBO show Euphoria have been harshly criticizing the series' creator for sexualizing the high school characters. Plus, it's just not accurate. I mean, take it from me, no one has sex in high school. Don't applaud that much. Well, this week, Russia began their invasion of Ukraine. President Putin launched the attack with support from allies like Belarus and Tucker Carlson.
Tuesday was National Pig Day, but I told that to a pig and he handcuffed me. This is a tough subject to make jokes about. I mean, in my lifetime, I've seen footage of attacks like this on other countries, but never a white one.
In what many people are calling a high point of his term, President Biden gave multiple speeches this week in which he issued the same strong warning to anyone thinking about attacking Israel. And here was his message.
Don't.
I won't.
A man in Utah was ordered to remove a Halloween decoration of a skeleton pole dancing, and I'm sorry, but that just looks like every white strip club to me.
Michigan State apologized after an image of Adolf Hitler appeared on a stadium video board at a football game. Even more upsetting, it was during the kiss cam.
New research suggests that Viagra can help lower a man's chances of developing Alzheimer's by 60%, thanks to an effect researchers are calling post-nut clarity.
The world's oldest dog ever has died at the age of 31.
Aww.
And some experts believe it could have lived even longer if I had looked before backing out of the driveway. Southwest Airlines has introduced a new feature on its app that lets passengers track their bags. Southwest, why don't you tell us where your bag is?
If convicted, Hunter Biden could be sentenced to up to 17 years in prison, which would be the first time any Biden has successfully completed a sentence.
And yesterday on Truth Social, Trump posted a courtroom sketch of him sitting next to Jesus. Because if there's one guy whose trial famously ended well, it's Jesus. After President Biden's successful meeting with China's President Xi Jinping, reporters asked Biden if he still believed that Xi was a dictator. And I don't know if Biden was supposed to say yes, because look at this reaction from Secretary of State Antony Blinken.
Did you still refer to President Xi as a dictator? This is a term that you used earlier this year.
Well, look, he is.
Yesterday was National No Bra Day, and boy, was I busy.
A federal indictment issued this week against Hunter Biden alleges that he evaded paying over $1 million of taxes between 2016 and 2020. And they're only catching him now? Man, this is super embarrassing for whoever was president from 2016 to 2020.
Insiders are concerned that President Biden's chances for re-election could be damaged by his unwavering support for Israel. But I think the bigger problem for Biden is that he is 6 years older than Israel.
Alaska Airlines has announced plans to buy Hawaiian Airlines for nearly $2 billion. Alaska and Hawaiian combined will be called Technically American Airlines.
The second largest Hindu temple in the world has opened in New Jersey. Hindu leaders believe the temple ended up in New Jersey because it did something terrible in a former life.
California has become the first state in the country to enact ebony alerts to help find missing black children. And I'll save you some time. They're not with their fathers. Oh, you like that? Well, here's another. California has become the first state in the country to issue ebony alerts when a black child goes missing. And hopefully the police find them before I do.
New Jersey police recaptured an escaped pig named Albert Einstein. They call him Albert Einstein because compared to people in New Jersey, pigs are geniuses.
Some Google users are upset after the company's AI software mistakenly labeled innocent pictures of their children as child porn. This is completely unacceptable, said people who were looking for real child porn.
A new study finds that the top reason more teenage boys are virgins is that they haven't found the right person yet, which suggests a critical nationwide shortage on skanks.
Don't fall for me, don't put your trust in me, don't even lie for me. I want you, honey, I don't